Hello everyone, here is Afra Siab. Today we are going to solve Cambridge IGCSE Physics Paper 2 Multiple Choice Extended held on May-June 2016 and paper code is 0625 with variant 23. So let's start from question number 1. Question number 1. The diagram shows an enlarged drawing of a end of a meter rule. It is being used to measure the length of a small feather. What is the length of the feather? So here we have to measure the length of the feather. There is also a meter rule. We find out the starting and ending reading on the meter rule where the feather is lying. So first of all, here is 10 millimeter. On the other side, here is 29 millimeter. So the length of this feather will be equal to 29 minus 10, which is equal to 19 millimeter. Now we see the options. Option A 19 millimeter, B 29 millimeter, C 19 centimeter, D 29 centimeter. From here, option A is correct. Question number 2. An object moves at a constant speed for some time then begin to accelerate. Which distance time graph shows this motion? In the graph A, we can see here is a distance time graph and we have to show first of all object is moving with a constant speed and then it accelerates. In the graph A, here the distance remains same. It means that in the initial part when line is parallel to time axis, here speed is equal to 0 because speed is the slope of distance time graph. Here distance remains same. So speed will be equal to 0 in this region. After that, in this region, it is constant speed because by increasing the time distance also increase uniformly. So here speed is constant. So option A is incorrect from here. Now we check the option B. Here first of all we can see that speed is constant and then it becomes 0. So option B is also incorrect. In the option C we can see here that by increasing the time, distance also increase up to this point. It means that here speed is constant. After that object is accelerating. So option C correctly shows the motion of the object that first it moves with the constant speed and then it accelerates. So option C is correct from here. Question number 3. A heavy object is released near the surface of the earth and freely falls. Air resistance can be ignored. Which statement about the acceleration of the object due to gravity is correct? So which statement about the acceleration of the object due to gravity is correct? Option A. The acceleration depends on the mass of the object. B. Acceleration depends on the volume of the object. C. Acceleration is constant. D. The acceleration is initially 0 and increase as the object falls. First of all, here we ignore the air resistance. So acceleration remains constant. In the option D, it says that acceleration is initially 0 and then increase. So D option is incorrect from here. Option A and B also incorrect because acceleration does not depend upon the mass or volume. So acceleration is constant. Only correct option is C. Question number 4. A cup contains a hot liquid. Some of liquid evaporates. What happens to the mass and what happens to the weight of the liquid in the cup? So first of all, here is cup. Inside there is liquid. Some of the liquid evaporates. In the evaporation, the molecules of high energy escape from the surface. So when some of the liquid evaporate, the mass of the remaining liquid decrease. So mass decrease. We also have to find out what happens to the weight. Weight is the product of mass and acceleration due to gravity. By decreasing the mass, weight also decrease. Now we see the options. Mass and weight. Option A, decreases, B, decreases, stays the same, C, stays the same, decreases, D, stays the same. So both of these decreases. Option A is correct from here. Question number 5. An object moves in a circle at constant speed. Which statement about the force needed on the object is correct? Option A, a force away from the center of the circle keeping the object moving in the circle. B, an object in the direction of the motion of the object keep it moving in the circle. C, a force towards the center of the circle keeps the object moving in the circle. D, no force is needed to keep the object moving at a constant speed in the circle. So here first of all, object is moving into the circular path. In order to move into the circular path, there is a force that is directed towards the center of the circle. So the force will be towards the center of circle. It means that option C is correct from here, which shows that force towards the center of the circle keeps the object moving in the circle. Question number 6. A long plank XY lies on a ground. A load of 120 Newton is placed on it at a distance of 0.50 meter from the end X as shown. End Y is lifted off the ground. The upward force needed to do this is 65 Newton. In the diagram, W is the weight of the plank acting at its midpoint. What is the value of weight? So here we have to find out the value of the weight. Here I use the conservation of the moment, that the total clockwise movement will be equal to the total anti-clockwise movement. First of all, I calculate the anti-clockwise moment. I write here anti-clockwise moment. Anti-clockwise moment is basically caused by the force that is on the end Y. It is 65 Newton. We also have to find out the perpendicular distance from the pivot point. Here is X. So the total distance is actually equal to the length of the plank, which is 4.0 meter. So I write here 65 Newton multiplied by 4.0 meter. This is anti-clockwise moment. We also have to find out the clockwise moment. So I write here clockwise moment. This will be equal to, clockwise moment is caused by this weight and also by this load, that is 120 Newton. So I write here weight multiplied by perpendicular distance from the pivot point. This is equal to 2.0 meter. So I write here 2.0 plus the moment caused by 120 Newton load. This will be equal to 120 multiplied by distance is 0.50. So I write here 0.50 meter. Now I have to equalize the anti-clockwise moment and clockwise moment. So I write here 65 multiplied by 4.0. This will be equal to 2.0 multiplied by weight plus 120 multiplied by 0.50. And this will be equal to 260, 2.0 weight plus 60. Then 2.0 multiplied by weight will be equal to 200. And weight will be equal to 200 divided by 2.0, which is equal to 100. Unit is Newton. It means that this weight is equal to 100 Newton. Now we see the options. Option A 35 Newton, B 47 Newton, C 100 Newton. So C option is correct from here. Question number 7. Which list contains only vector quantities? Option A, energy, force and velocity. B, speed, acceleration and force. C, velocity, energy and acceleration. D, velocity, force and acceleration. Vector quantity is specified by magnitude as well as direction. In the option A, energy is the scalar quantity, so option A is incorrect. In the option B, speed is the scalar quantity, so B option is also incorrect. Option C, here again energy, it's a scalar quantity, so it is incorrect. Option D is correct. Because velocity, force and acceleration, all of these are vector quantities. Question number 8. A gas molecule strikes the wall of a container. The molecule rebounds with the same speed. Here is a gas molecule. It strikes with the wall and then rebound back. Figure 1 shows before hitting the wall and the other figure after hitting the wall. What happens to the kinetic energy and what happens to the momentum of the molecule? Kinetic energy, momentum. Option A, changes. B, changes, stays the same. C, stays the same, changes. D, stays the same. So here first of all we have to find out the momentum and kinetic energy before and after the collision. So I write here, before hitting the wall, momentum is Pi. This will be equal to, momentum is the product of mass and velocity. So I write here mv. After hitting the wall, momentum will be Pf. It will be the product of mass multiplied by v. But in this case, this gas molecule move in the opposite direction, due to which speed will be negative. So I write here minus v. Then the final momentum will be minus mv. It means that momentum changes here. Next we have to check the kinetic energy. So I write here kinetic energy, which is initial before hitting the wall. This will be 1 over 2 mv square. Kinetic energy final, which is after hitting the wall. It will be 1 over 2 m and here will be minus v square. This will be equal to 1 over 2 mv square. Here we can see that kinetic energy before and after hitting the wall is same. It means that kinetic energy stays the same but the momentum changes. From here, option C is correct. Question number 9. Which energy resource does not derive its energy from the sun? Option A, hydroelectric. B, nuclear fission. C, waves. D, wind. So it's basically the nuclear fission that derives energy from the nuclear reaction. So B option is correct from here. All of the other resources, hydroelectric, waves and wind, they derive its energy from the sun. So only correct option is B. Question number 10. The diagram shows the energy used by a modern lamp. Here is 60 watt input of the electrical power, 12 watt of useful power output as light, 48 watt of the power wasted in the heating surroundings. Which expression gives the efficiency of the lamp? So here we have to find out the efficiency of the lamp. Here the efficiency is the ratio of the useful output power to the input power. I write here efficiency is equal to useful output power divided by input power multiplied by 100%. Useful output power is given, which is 12 watt. So I write here 12 divided by input power. Here input power is 60 watt. So I write here 60 multiplied by 100%. Now we see the options. Option A, 12 over 60 multiplied by 100%. So A option is correct from here. Question number 11. 3 boxes each weigh 100 Newton. A man lifts all the boxes together from the ground onto a shelf that is 1.5 meter above the ground. The man takes 2.0 seconds to do this. How much useful power does the man produce to lift the boxes? So here we have to find out the useful power. I write here power is equal to rate of transfer of energy, that is E by T. Here it's the potential energy. So I write here potential energy divided by time, which is equal to mgh divided by time. So first of all, mg is the product of weight. So here will be weight multiplied by height divided by time. This is equal to power. I find out the weight. Weight will be equal to, there are 3 blocks and all of the blocks have weight 100 Newton. So there will be 3 multiplied by 100 Newton. Total weight will be 300 Newton. So I put here weight is equal to 300 multiplied by height. Height is 1.5 meter divided by time is 2.0 second. So that power will be equal to 225 watt. Now we see the options. Option A 75 watt, B 225 watt. So B option is correct from here. Question number 12. A diver underwater uses breathing apparatus at the depth where the pressure is 1.25 into 10 to the power 5 Pascal. A bubble of a gas breathed out by the diver has a volume of 20 cubic centimeter when it is released. The bubble moves upward to the surface of the water. At the surface of the water, the atmospheric pressure is 1.00 into 10 to the power 5 Pascal. The temperature of the water is the same at all depth. What is the volume of this bubble when it reaches the surface? First of all, here temperature is constant, pressure and volume is given. We have to find out the volume of the bubble when it reaches the surface, where the atmospheric pressure is 1.00 into 10 to the power 5 Pascal. Here I use the Boyle's law. In the Boyle's law, temperature is constant and expression is P1V1 is equal to P2V2. Here we have to find out the value of V2. This will be equal to P1V1 over P2. Now I am going to put values here. V2 will be equal to P1 is 1.25 into 10 to the power 5 multiplied by V1. This is 20 cubic centimeter divided by P2 1.00 into 10 to the power 5 Pascal. So volume V2, this will be equal to 25 cubic centimeter. Now we see the options. Option A 15 cubic centimeter, B 16 cubic centimeter, C 20 cubic centimeter, D 25 cubic centimeter. So D option is correct from here. Question number 13. The diagram shows a simple mercury barometer. The atmospheric pressure increases. Which distance increases? So here it's a simple mercury barometer. Height, that is equal to Wy. This is used to measure the atmospheric pressure in millimeter of mercury. When the atmospheric pressure increases, then this distance will increase. It means that when we increase the atmospheric pressure, the distance Wy increase. From here we see the options. Option A Vw, B Yw. So B option is correct from here. Question number 14. What causes the random zigzag movement, Brownian motion of the smoke particles suspended in the air? Option A air molecules colliding with the smoke particles. B convection currents as the hot smoke rises. C smoke particles colliding with each other. D smoke particles reacting with the oxygen molecules in the air. When the smoke particles suspended in the air, they move random zigzag manner. It is because of the reason that the air molecule collide with the smoke particles. From here, option A is correct. Question number 15. A sealed bottle of constant volume contains air. The air in the bottle is heated by the sun. What is the effect on the average speed of the air molecules in the bottle and the average distance between them? Average speed of the air molecules. average distance between the air molecules. Option A, decreases, decreases. B, decreases, stays the same. C, increases, increases. D, increases, stays the same. So first of all, when we heat the air in the bottle, the speed of the air molecules inside this bottle increase, but the average distance between the air molecules stays the same. From here, option D is correct, which shows that average speed of the air molecules increases, but the distance remains same. Question number 16. The diagram shows the liquid in glass thermometer. How can the thermometer be made more sensitive? So here we have to increase the sensitivity of the liquid in glass thermometer. Option A, increase the internal diameter of the tube containing the liquid thread. B, increase the internal volume of the glass bulb and the volume of the liquid. C, increase the length of the tube and the stem. D, increase the thickness of the glass in the glass bulb. So here we have to increase the sensitivity. By increasing the internal volume of the glass bulb, liquid will increase inside. Greater the amount of the liquid, greater it would be expand by increasing the temperature, so that higher sensitive thermometer would be. It means that option B is correct from here. We can increase the sensitivity by increasing the internal volume of the gas bulb and the volume of the liquid. So B option is correct. Question number 17. In an experiment to measure the specific heat capacity, a block of aluminium is heated and its rise in temperature is measured. The amount of energy gained by the block is E, the mass of the block is m, the rising temperature of the block is delta T. Which expression gives the specific heat capacity of the aluminium? So here we have to write the expression for calculation of the specific heat capacity of the aluminium. So energy E gained by the block, it will be equal to m c delta T. Here m is the mass, delta T is rise in temperature and C is the specific heat capacity. From here C will be equal to E over m delta T. Now we see the option. Option A, m over E delta T. B, m delta T over E. C, E over m delta T. D, E delta T over m. From here, option C is correct. Question number 18. Which row shows the surface that is better absorber and the surface that is better emitter of infrared radiation? Better absorber, better emitter. Option A, black surface, black surface. B, black surface, white surface. C, white surface, black surface. D, white surface, white surface. So here we have to choose the surface that is better absorber and also the better emitter. Black color is best absorber of the radiation as well as best emitter, while the white color is poor absorber as well as poor emitter. It means that the surface that is better absorber and the surface that is better emitter is black surface. From here, option A is correct. Question number 19. A student suggests some uses for the containers made from the good thermal conductors and for the container made from poor thermal conductors. In which row are both suggested uses correct? Good thermal conductor, poor thermal conductor. Option A, keeping a cooled liquid at a low temperature, transferring thermal energy quickly from a hot liquid. B, keeping a hot liquid at high temperature, keeping a cooled liquid at a low temperature. C, transferring thermal energy quickly from a hot liquid, transferring thermal energy quickly to the cooled liquid. D, transferring thermal energy quickly to the cooled liquid, keep a hot liquid at a high temperature. First of all, good thermal conductor can easily transfer thermal energy and the poor thermal conductor can easily keep a hot liquid hot at a high temperature because liquid is already hot. They conduct thermal energy poorly. But it does not matter because liquid is already hot. It means that good thermal conductors are those that transfer thermal energy quickly to the cooled liquid. And poor thermal conductors are those that keep a liquid hot at a high temperature. From here, option D is correct. Question number 20. A water wave passes into region where the wave travels more slowly. As it passes into the slow region, what happens to the frequency and what happens to the wavelength of the wave? Frequency and wavelength. Option A, decreases, remains the same. B, increases, remains the same. C, remains the same, decreases. D, remains the same, increases. So as the wave passing through the region where wave travels more slowly, frequency remains same. According to V is equal to F lambda, when frequency remains same and wave is a region where it travels slower, it means that its speed is low. When speed is small, then the wavelength will be small. It means that when a water wave passes into the region where the wave travels more slowly, here wavelength will decrease but the frequency remains same. From here, option C is correct. Question number 21. Which row shows the nature of the light waves, sound waves and X-rays? Light waves, sound waves and X-rays. Option A, longitudinal transfers. B, longitudinal transfers and longitudinal. C, transfers, longitudinal transfers. D, transfers, longitudinal. So first of all, light waves and X-rays, both of these are transfers, while the sound waves are longitudinal. In the transverse wave, the vibration of the particle is perpendicular to the direction of propagation of the wave, while in the longitudinal wave, the direction of the vibration is parallel to the direction of propagation of the wave. It means that light wave and X-rays, both of these are transverse, that is given in option C. And also sound wave is longitudinal, it is also given in option C. So C option is correct from here. Question number 22. The diagram shows an object in the front of plane mirror. The mirror forms an image of the object. Here is object and we have to find out the location of the image of this object. At which labeled point is the image formed and which type of the image is formed. Plane mirror always form the virtual image. I write here image will be virtual. Next we also have to find out the location where the image is formed. The image formed by the plane mirror will be at the same distance from the mirror as that of the object, but it should be on the opposite side as that of the object. It means that image is formed at the point N. Here image will be formed and it should be virtual. Now we see the options where the image is formed and type of image. Option A, M, real. B, at M and virtual. C, at N, real. D, at N and virtual. So D option is correct from here because the image is virtual and the image is formed at the point N. Question number 23. Light enters a glass block at an angle of incidence 46 degree. The light refracts at an angle of refraction of 26 degree. What is the refractive index of the glass? So here we have to find out the refractive index of the glass. N is equal to sine of angle of incidence over sine of angle of refraction. Here angle of incidence is 46 degree. So I write here sine of 46 degree divided by sine of angle of refraction, which is 26 degree. So that refractive index N, it will be equal to 1.64. Now we see the options. Option A 0.57, B 0.61, C 1.64. So C option is correct from here. Question number 24. The diagram shows the converging lens forming an image of the object. Which statement about the image is correct? Option A, it is real and can be seen by an eye at X. B, it is real and can be seen by an eye at Y. C, it is virtual and can be seen by an eye at X. D, it is virtual and can be seen by the eye at Y. So first of all, here we can see that object is here and image is formed on the same side. It means that image formed by this converging lens is virtual. When we have to form the image by the converging lens, rays from the object fall on the converging lens, and after refraction by the lens, they meet at a single point where they form the image. But here on the right hand side, both of these does not meet at a single point. Here we have to extend them in the backward direction so that they form the image. Here the image is formed eye. It means that when we have to see the image, we have to see from the eye Y. Now we see the option. From here, option D is correct, which shows that image is virtual and it can be seen by an eye at Y. Question number 25. The sound from a loudspeaker must pass through the two materials to reach the microphone. Here we can see that loudspeaker is on one side while the microphone is on the other side of the two materials. Which combination of the materials give the shortest time for the sound to reach the microphone? Material 1, material 2. Option A, air and hydrogen. B, air and water. C, copper and aluminium. D, water and oil. First of all, both of these materials should be solid or liquid, because in the solid, speed of sound is larger as compared to the liquid, and in the liquid, speed of sound is larger as compared to the gas. I write here, speed of sound in the solid is greater as compared to the speed of sound in the liquid, which is even greater as compared to the speed of sound in the gas. When the speed of sound in the solid is larger, it means that here it takes short time to reach on the microphone. Now we have to select the material. From here, copper and aluminium are the materials for which the sound reach in the shortest time to the microphone. So C option is correct from here. Question number 26. Which range of the wave frequencies includes only sounds that can be heard by the human with the normal hearing? Option A, 3.0 Hz to 300 Hz. B, 30 Hz to 3000 Hz. C, 300 to 30,000 Hz. D, 3000 to 3 lakh Hz. So here we know that the range of the frequency that can be heard by the human lies from 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz. Any frequency that lies between this range will be heard by the humans. It means that the frequency that is given in the option B, it is heard by the humans. So B option is correct from here. Question number 27. The diagram shows two charged metal plates. Which diagram shows the pattern and the direction of the electric field between the metal plates? So here we have to show the pattern and the direction of the electric field between the metal plates. Option A and B, both of these are incorrect because it's not the correct direction of the electric field lines. Electric field emerges from the positive charge and enters at the negative charge. In the option C, we can see here the lines are shown and arrow is downward. It means that this line entering the positive plate, which is incorrect. So C option is also incorrect. In the option D, the arrow is upward. It means that this line emerges from the positive charge and enters at the negative charge. So D option is correct. The pattern and the direction of electric field lines between the metal plates. Question number 28. The four circles shown all include an AC power supply, two diodes and a lamp. In which circuit is there a rectified current in the lamp? There are four circuits and in each circuit there are two diodes, one lamp and AC power supply. In the option A, here we can see that there are two diodes and a lamp. Only A circuit will allow the current to pass through it in one particular direction only, It means that circuit A shows the rectified current in the lamp. So option A is correct from here. We also see the other option. In the option B, again there are two diodes. Current flow in both directions because diodes are connected in two different paths. So B option is not correct because here is no rectified current in the lamp. In the option C, here we can see that there are again two diodes, but no current will flow because for each direction there is at least one reverse bias diode. In the option D, here are again two diodes. Current flow in both directions because the two diodes are connected in two different ways. If one is forward bias in first cycle, the other diode will be forward bias in the second cycle. So only the circuit from which we get the rectified current is given in option A. So A is correct from here. Question number 29. The diagram shows a battery connected to the two resistors. There are two resistors and a battery. Four students separately measure the electromotive force EMF of the battery, the current in the resistors and the potential difference across the resistor R. Their results are shown in the table below. Which row shows the values with their correct unit? Here is a table that shows EMF, current and potential difference. Option A, 3.0 ampere, 0.30 volt, 1.5 ampere. B, 3.0 ampere, 0.30 ampere and 1.5 volt. C, 3.0 volt, 0.30 volt, 1.5 ampere. D, 3.0 volt, 0.30 ampere and 1.5 volt. First of all, EMF is measured in volt, while the current is measured in ampere and potential difference also measured in volt. We can see here that the correct units are given in option D. So D option is correct from here. Question number 30. A 3.0 ohm resistor and 6.0 ohm resistor are connected in parallel. There are two resistors 3.0 ohm and 6.0 ohm. What is their combined resistance? So here we have to find out the total resistance of this combination. Option A, 0.50 ohm, B, 2.0 ohm, C, 4.5 ohm, D, 9.0 ohm. In a parallel combination, when we have to find out the total resistance, we use formula that 1 over R total. This will be equal to 1 over R1 plus 1 over R2. Here I write R1 is equal to 3.0 ohm while R2 is equal to 6.0 ohm. So 1 over RT will be equal to 1 over 3.0 plus 1 over 6.0. This will be equal to 6.0, 2.0 plus 1.0. Then 1 over RT will be equal to 3.0 over 6.0. Total resistance RT will be equal to 2.0 ohm. From here, option B is correct. Question number 31. The diagram shows a combination of a logic gates. Here are two inputs P and Q. Input P is at a logic state 0, which is low, and input Q is at a logic state 1, which is high. What are the logic states at the output X and at output Y? Here I write 0. The input of P is 0, so here will be 0, and the input Q is 1. There will be 1. 0 and here is NOT gate. 0 changes into 1 and 1 changes into 0 by the application of NOT gate. It means that here will be 1. This is NAND gate. And here this 1 comes as it is. NAND gate is formed when we apply NOT gate over AND gate. In the AND gate we say that if both of the inputs are high, the output will be high. Here 1 and 1, both of these inputs are high, so output of the AND gate will be 1. By the application of NOT gate, this changes into 0. It means the output of this NAND gate is equal to 0. So the output X will be equal to 0. Next we also have to find out the output Y. This 1 comes here as it is and this 0 comes here. This is NOR gate NOR gate is formed when we apply NOT gate over OR gate. In the OR gate, we say that if any one of the input is high, the output will be high. Here 1 is high input, so the output of the OR gate will be 1. By the application of NOT gate, the output of this NOR gate will be 0. It means that output Y will be equal to 0. Now we see the options. Output X and output Y. Option A 0 0, B 0 1, C 1 0, D 1 1. So A option is correct from here. Question number 32. The diagram shows part of a circuit used to switch the street lamp on and off automatically. In the evening it gets dark. Which row shows the effect on the resistance of the light dependent resistor LDR and on the potential difference PD across it? Resistance of the LDR, potential difference across LDR. Option A decreases decreases, B decreases increases, C increases decreases, D increases increases. So first of all, here we can see that in this circuit, here is LDR and the other resistor R. When a light falls on the light dependent resistor, its resistance decreases. In the darkness, resistance remains high. I write here, in darkness, resistance is high. But when the light is bright, resistance should be low. I write here, in bright light, resistance is low. Here it is given that in the evening it gets dark. It means that in the evening there is darkness, so the resistance of the LDR is high. I write here, resistance of LDR is high. When the resistance of LDR increase, the potential difference across the LDR also increase, because here it's a potential divider case. In a potential divider, R1 over R2 is equal to V1 over V2. It means that in the evening both the resistance and potential difference across the LDR increases. Now we see the options. In the option D, both of these increases, so D option is correct from here. Question number 33. A domestic circuit includes a 30 ampere fuse. This protects the wiring if there is too much current in the circuit. In which wire is the 30 ampere fuse positioned and what does it do when it operates? Position and operation. A. Live wire and disconnects the circuit. B. Live wire reduces the current to 30 ampere. C. Neutral wire and disconnect the circuit. D. Neutral wire and reduces the current to 30 ampere. First of all, the function of the fuse is to disconnect the circuit from the live wire by melting if large amount of the current is coming from the live wire, which can affect the component of the circuit badly. It means that its position will be live wire and operation is to disconnect the circuit. So option A is correct from here. Question number 34. A strong electromagnet is used to attract the pins. What happens when the current in the coil is halved? Option A. No pins are attracted. B. Some pins are attracted but not so many. C. The same number of pins is attracted. D. More pins are attracted. First of all, here the current is halved. I write here, current will be equal to 1 over 2I. By decreasing the current, the strength of electromagnet decrease. It means that by decreasing the strength of the electromagnet, some of the pins are attracted but some falls down. From here, B option is correct, which shows that some pins are attracted but not so as many. Question number 35. The diagram shows the transformer. Here is transformer. Primary coil has 800 turns and secondary coil has 40 turns. The input voltage is 240 volt. What is the output voltage? So here we have to find out the output voltage. Here I use the concept that the ratio of the number of turns will be equal to the ratio of the voltage. I write here Ns over Np is equal to Vs over Vp. We have to find out the value of Vs. It will be equal to Ns over Np multiplied by Vp. Now I am going to put values here. Number of turns of the secondary coil is 40 divided by number of turns on the primary coil. It is 800 multiplied by the input voltage is 240. So that Vs will be equal to 12 volt. Now we see the options. Option A 6.0 volt, B 12 volt. So B option is correct from here. Question number 36. The diagram shows the shaded area where the direction of the magnetic field is into the page. A beam of beta particle enters the magnetic field as shown. In which direction is the beam of beta particle deflected as they enter the magnetic field? Option A into the page, B out of page, C down the page, D up the page. First of all, here the direction of magnetic field is into the page and the beam of beta particle is entering the magnetic field from left to right. Here I use the Fleming right hand rule. According to this rule, keep your hand parallel to the plane of the magnetic field such that the thumb should point towards the direction of the force. Move the index finger perpendicular to the direction of magnetic field and force. Index finger will show the direction of the current. So the direction of the force will be down the page. From here, option C is correct. I circle option C. Question number 37. Below are 4 statements about the isotope of a certain element. Which statement about the isotopes must be correct? Option A. They are radioactive. B. They are unstable. C. They have the same number of neutrons. D. They have the same number of protons. Isotopes are the elements that have same atomic number but different atomic mass. I write here atomic number is same but mass number is different. Atomic number is basically equal to the number of proton. I write here atomic number G is equal to number of protons. When the atomic number of the isotopes remains same, it means that the isotopes have the same number of protons. From here, option D is correct. Question number 38. Which diagram represents an experiment that provided the evidence for the nuclear atom? Here is option A, alpha particles and gold nucleus. Alpha particles are deflected towards the nucleus, but it should be deflected away from the nucleus because both of these are positively charged. There should be repulsion between them. So A option is incorrect. Option B, beta particles and gold nucleus. Here in this experiment we used alpha particles, not beta particles. So B option is incorrect. Also the option D, where beta particle is shown. So D option is also incorrect. In the option C, here is alpha particle and it is deflected away from the gold nucleus. So C option is correct from here. Question number 39. The sodium decays to magnesium 24 according to the following equation. Here is sodium, it decays into magnesium and there is also emitted particle. What is emitted particle? Option A, alpha particle, B, beta particle, C, neutron, D, proton. First of all, here we can see that the atomic number of the sodium is 11 while the mass number is 24. Magnesium atomic number is 12 while the mass number is 24. Here for the sodium and magnesium, mass number remains same. Only the atomic number increased by 1. So the emitted particle will be beta particle. Here will be 0 and -1. So that the atomic number and mass number on both sides of this arrow remain conserved. Option B is correct from here. Question number 40. The reading on the detector placed near a radioactive material is 536 count per second. The background count rate is 44 counts per second. The half-life of the radioactive material is 34 hours. What is the reading on the detector after 68 hours? So here we have to find out the reading on the detector when 68 hours pass. First of all, the reading on the detector is 536 count per second initially. I write here initial reading. This is equal to 536 counts per second. And the initial reading without background count rate, it will be 536 minus 44, which will be equal to 492 counts per second. Here half-life is also given and we have to find out the reading on the detector after 68 hours. First of all, we find that how much half-life passes. So total number of half-lives will be equal to total time, that is 68 hours divided by half-life. It is given 34 hours. It means that total number of half-lives will be equal to 2. 2 half-life passes. So first of all, initially there are 492 counts per second without background count rate. So I write here 492 divided by 2. This will be equal to 246. This is the count rate when first half-life pass. When the second half-life pass, there will be 246 divided by 2. This will be equal to 123 counts per second. It means that when second half-life pass, count rate is 123 counts per second. We also have to add the reading that is due to the background radiation. So there will be 123 plus 44, which is equal to 167 counts per second. So the reading on the detector after 68 hours will be equal to 167 counts per second. Option D is correct from here.